Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you find yourself in this weird, wild, wacky world of ours, and welcome to another exciting installment of Darkness in Dublin. This evening's mage scene will take place in the hermetic chantry known as the Griffith Building. More than likely during the Edwardian era, this building was some kind of dormitory that served Trinity College that is located just a couple of blocks away. However, it has since been converted in order to serve a much more altruistic, if arcane, purpose. The large, high-roofed rooms have now been converted into libraries, solariums, buildings where are rooms where you can chart the stars on the ceiling, as opposed to having to look outside. Hyun has been given a small room in the chantry to call his own, a little key, his little golden key to enter and leave, because golden keys are fancy. There will be a very polite knock on the door, however, this early afternoon.
Yeah, we'll go over and open the door.
You'll see Sebastian, who is he's the kind of the house servant of this particular chantry. He's a small, balding man in his mid to late 50s. He never awoke, but he spent his entire life in service to the order as a custodian. And he'll look at him up and say, Master Hyun, yes, Magister Alexandros of House Viditius is here to see you.
Oh, well, yeah, let him in, by all means.
He's downstairs having tea in the drawing room.
Should I join him there?
That would be nice. Would you like some tea?
Sounds great.
Ah, wonderful. He does what I refer to as, okay, you will understand when I mean this. I coined this term yesterday. It is toboggan. It's kind of that little wombly walk that small people do.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
He will proceed to toboggan down the stairs. As you walk downstairs, it is a grand staircase that leads down into an open hallway. On one side of the hallway is the drawing room, on the other is the entrance to the main library, both of which are currently open. For the record, there are about 4 to 5 mages who occupy this chantry, who take space here and have workrooms here, and there are about 12 students or so, 12 novitiates with the hope of awakening. Then there is Magister D'Onofrio, who teaches most of the practical classes, and Magister Croshaw, who is much more reclusive, but is the head of the chantry, who tends to focus more on higher research and his own personal studies. Seated cross-legged in the summer sun in the drawing room, however, Magister Alexandros will casually raise his teacup to his lips as he takes a sip just as you enter. Oh, Mr. Hyun, it's a pleasure to see you again.
Likewise. What do you need to talk to me about?
Why don't you sit down?
I'll take a seat.
So, I hope that you've been treated well since you've been here.
Can't complain. It's been pretty nice. I appreciate the hospitality, of course. I finally finished my analysis in its entirety of your physical makeup and structure. I have to say, I don't know why the technocrats did to you as they did. However, in all honesty, what they did to serve a very specific purpose and function. I'm now at least vaguely aware of what that function is. At this point, you'll be brought a cup of tea and a biscuit. He'll take a sip of the tea.
So, with that in mind, how to phrase this best? Okay. Your implants are entirely undetectable unless an individual were to do a deep, and by deep I mean deep, scan of your internal anatomy. They were designed to never be seen. Not only that, but they're also in your chest, you'll point roughly where your heart is. There is a immensely powerful dampening field, inside of which, after an incredible amount of labor, we were able to identify a power source of, well, frankly, almost
in, how would I phrase this most monolithic power.
Yen does not look surprised.
I'm sensing that nothing I'm saying is news to you.
I asked the local head of the don't think for a second, the Aetherites, Eliza Roth, to take a look at me about a week or so ago. And we found out a bunch of this stuff. Weren't able to get into my memories, sadly, but still found out quite a bit.
I see. Would you care to elaborate, or?
Oh, sorry. For one thing, the reason these implants were placed into me was to defend. He'll tap on his chest where the keystone is, along with other defensive measures. Namely, if someone tries to remove it without disabling those safety measures, Dublin's going to go up like Hiroshima.
He will sip his tea. I see. Fascinating. But yes, in that case, the power source I sensed was more than likely this item that you claim was implanted in your chest.
The reason that I don't have my memories is so nobody can really disable those safety measures, essentially. The guy who put them in, the one who came up with Project Morpheus. Have you heard about that yet?
No, I can't say that I have.
Essentially, the plan is it was September 9th, right, Evan? That's the what's going on?
September 10th.
September 10th, okay, gotcha. September 10th, there's supposed to be some crazy bullshit happening, and while that is happening, the technocracy is going to use multiple power sources to eliminate any idea of magic, of sorcery, of that sort of thing from the consensus, and make it so that it can never happen, period.
He will sip his tea. Concerned sipping. Right. And what does this have to do with you?
The man who put these implants in me is the one who came up with Project Morpheus. He did it as a thought experiment, but then they took it seriously, and he realized the danger.
And it's an incredible experiment to come up with accidentally.
Yeah. I mean, he's dead now, so we can't. Well, I guess we could theoretically probe him for questions if we could find his ghost or whatever. But
yes,
left a little kind of interactive hologram on my brain though. That helps any.
Fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, do you want to know his name?
Is that not a character question?
Yeah.
Yes, please, because I cannot remember it.
No worries, I'm just getting it from my notes. Dr. Alexander Stolheim.
Okay.
Stolheim.
Stolheim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was Dutch, or not Dutch. He was Norwegian.
Dr. Stolheim wiped my memories, wiped my wife's memories, and sent her somewhere, and sent Dr. Christoph? No, it wasn't Christoph. It was
Kurdisov.
Kurtisov, yeah, thank you. Dr. Kurtisov into hiding, but Kurtisov didn't exactly make it.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. I mean, I saw her a little bit. She was kind of rude, but I don't know.
It is assumed then in that case, well, if your memories were altered, it's very possible hers were as well.
Possible.
So I think the question is, Mr. Hayden, where did you go from here?
I don't know, honestly. I mean, obviously, a good way to go would be keeping this shit under wraps and hopefully making sure they don't pull the Project Morpheus BS. But I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of trying to help where I can.
I see. Well, frankly, as I said, you came to us somewhat of a conundrum, and now at least we understand the vestige elements of the conundrum. So, with that in mind, I've spoken to the fellow members of my house, and I've spoken to the members of the Nine Traditions of Magic on the matter. I don't believe, having analysed the vestiges of your mental conditioning and what would essentially be the firewalls that have been placed up in order to generate certain effects around you or in you, that you represent a threat to the Nine Traditions. Not in the slightest, as a matter of fact. I think that you're probably as much of a victim of this as anyone, in all honesty. So, with that in mind, we need to contemplate going forward. Now, you are welcome to stay here and sorry, one moment. You're welcome to stay here if you would like to stay here and continue your studies. And if you're interested, my house is open to you should you wish to become a member of the order. If not, you are more than welcome to simply stay here until such time as you find your feet. I don't want to try and force a decision on you, so feel free to take as much time as you need. Polite hermetic is polite.
Cool. Sit with you for a little bit. What exactly are the particulars of your house?
When you say particulars, what do you mean?
What are your guys' focus? Why? What do you guys do essentially?
Oh, House Vitidius. Well, I was a member of House Vitidius when we were still House Teague, but still a bit. House Vitidius concentrates on the blending of sorcery and the blending of science and sorcery. That moment where technology ends and magic begins, and magic begins and technology ends, etc. We are the individuals who blur the lines between what is possible and what is impossible when it comes to this method. You understand?
Mm.
We are. We are we are the youngest great house, without a doubt, at the moment. But we are still a great house of the order. We're pretty much exactly what we say on the tin.
You remember the Archbishop? I think he said a Celestial Chorus member.
Yes.
The former one, not the new one that tried to split everything off. Of course.
Yes. What about them?
I had a brief discussion with him in a club one night. He grabbed my hands. He took each of them in his own, and he asked me a question of if I'd use them to destroy the things that stood in my way, or if I'd use them to build things up and everything. I've been thinking on that question for a little while now. I think I'd rather create than destroy.
I'm personally rather a fan of creating as opposed to destroying myself. But again, that's just me.
And from what you told me of your house, I'd probably fit decently well into it.
I mean, everything is a learning experience, and I don't think that anything comes easily, or anything. No, that's wrong. Anything that is worth having does not come easily. Otherwise, it wouldn't be worth having. I'm not saying it's necessarily going to be easy. I'm not saying that it's always going to be pleasant, but ultimately, I think that you'd make a decent fit.
He'll sip on his tea again. I think I'll join. I'd rather have some place to, hang my boots at the end of the day. Hang my coat, I guess. I don't know phrases. You get what I mean.
I mean, I'm terrible with phrases, so don't worry about it. All right then. Okay, so there's a slight. Well, there's a slight. I'm not going to say ritual because that's almost a dirty word where I come from. But there's slight formality to character. Have you heard? I suppose that would mean until such time as you're deemed to be. You've already awakened, but you awakened without the proper instruction. So, if you're agreeable in that case, I will be your teacher until such time as you come into your own, as it were.
Makes sense.
Good. I must say I'm impressed. So, with that in mind, the only formality that remains is, have you heard our oath?
No, I haven't.
He will reach into his pocket and he will bring out a tablet. He'll start playing with the tablet for a moment before he will hand over the tablet to you.
Yeah, we'll take the tablet and read whatever's on there.
It is a very, very well. Obviously, Tiger knows the Hermetic Oath, but it is a copy of the Hermetic Oath.
You are correct. I don't have it memorized, but I have the tradition book, so I can just look it up real quick.
Cool.
If I can find it. I can't remember if I need to recite it or not. I think I do.
I was going to say, I think there is indeed a recitation of the oath.
Yeah. I found the Hermetic Code.
I've always just used the Hermetic Code as a Hermetic Oath.
That's fair. Okay. Find it again, sorry. Okay, yeah. So you want me to just go ahead and read it out loud?
Yeah, just read it out verbatim.
Okay. I swear everlasting loyalty to the Order and its members. The Order's friends and enemies are my friends and enemies, and I shall not spurn a friend or succor an enemy. I shall not through action or inaction endanger the Order, nor consort with devils or the undead, nor anger the Fae. I shall not deprive any Order mage of magical power, nor through action or inaction attempt to bring harm to an Order mage, except in justly declared and open sermon. He'll kind of pause for a second, like he's about to ask, and then just kind of shake his head and continue on. I shall not spy by any means or manner upon another Order mage's private works, nor read an Order mage's mind, nor invade or observe an Order mage's sanctum, save to guard against a clear, direct, forceful, and imminent threat to the safety of the Order. If called before a tribunal, I shall abide by its verdicts. If called to sit upon the tribunal, I shall vote wisely, respect the votes of others, and support the tribunal's verdicts. Upon reaching the 5th degree or higher, I shall train apprentices and instruct them in this code. I bear the entire responsibility for my apprentice and shall duly admonish, restrain, discipline, or arrest an apprentice who endangers the order and shall yield same apprentice to the order's lawfully appointed agent or tribunal. I solemnly swear to uphold this sacred code of Hermes and venture any risk or sacrifice to protect it. Should I breach it, may all the mages of the order rise as one united and hunt me down and destroy me forever. I solemnly swear to vigorously and actively pursue the enemies of Ascension and to unmake their works in this world and in all others.
Congratulations. Welcome to the proverbial club.
Well, thank you. One question. Certamen. What is that?
Of course. You see, I'm part of a minority in the faction who wants to have it changed to Wizard Death Battle.
That's essentially what it is, though.
Essentially, yes.
Fair enough.
However, I'm led to understand they're disinclined to change it to Wizard Death Battle.
Maybe someday. Maybe someday.
A man can hope. But right, welcome, as I said. Do you have any questions I can answer?
What? You said you'll be my instructor in this, right?
Mm-hmm.
When do we start exactly, and what do you need me to start with?
Oh, what? Okay, that's question. What can you do as an entity? What is your, like, when you awoke, what's been what you can affect, or since you can remember, what is it that you can do?
Well, I'm pretty decent at punching things. I have some basic knowledge of whatever crazy technology that was on the Leviathan. I know regular technology fairly well. That kind of thing. Uh, Along with I can pretty decently affect whatever magic is going on. Can affect myself fairly well, and regular objects. Been learning how to mess with some forces too.
Okay. And this might sound like a very odd question, but how does it work for you?
It's weird because it's part of it seems to be an extension of my various cybernetics, and some of it seems to be more me telling reality to sit down and shut up.
Ah, the ancient and honorable, sit down, go home, you're drunk.
Basically, yeah.
I understand this. I understand this. Okay. So, cool. That in mind, then, we'll work on. I think how best to phrase it. I assume you. What languages do you speak?
English and Korean, that's about it.
Okay. To start, I'm going to have to teach you Latin.
Fair enough.
But then again, that's something that can be done relatively easily. You can see he's actively thinking. Wait, something I should have mentioned, but didn't. My apologies. You mentioned your wife.
Yeah. I'm not sure where she is. I don't know her name. I have a brief, fuzzy memory of the two of us getting wheeled into separate operating rooms, but that's about it.
Ugh. See, well, odd question. I know you as Hyun. Do you have another name you would prefer to be used?
Yeah, it's fine. But apparently before the whole amnesia thing, I was known as Agent Bok Choi.
Well, Bok Choy is a name, so I assume it would have been your name.
Probably. I personally prefer Hyun.
That is entirely fair. I will call you Hyun as you prefer.
Think.
I'm just trying to think. If there's anything, is there anything else that you need to ask or know from me?
Can't really think of anything, honestly. I'm sure I'll have questions, but right now I'm drawing a blank.
Okay. Well then, when you have questions, I will answer those questions. Very good. In that case, Hyun, I have a number of other things to do today, unfortunately, so I need to be off. We will, I'm sure, however, speak again at a later date. My...
I was gonna say, you know where to find me.
Oh, before I forget, here, he'll throw you something. Like, just, it's a small, like, kind of overhand throw, so it's very quick.
I need to roll to try and catch it, or are you okay saying Hyun catches it?
I'm okay with you just catch it. Like, you've got hand coordination at the bottom, so it's all good.
Alright.
It is a tiny golden ring with the symbol of the Order of Hermes on it.
He'll slip it on.
It doesn't actually. It's quite interesting. It doesn't actually. It doesn't actually fit, but as you push it on, the ring actually expands until it fits perfectly.
That's a neat trick.
I'm full of those. When you've been doing this as long as I have, you either pick up neat tricks or, frankly, become irrelevant.
Understand.
All right. Well, in that case, I'll be off. I'll hope to see you soon, Hyun. Have a pleasant day.
You as well.
He'll put down his tea. You will then see he'll take out a stone from his pocket. It appears to be some kind of large sapphire, you would guess. And he'll rub it with his finger. He'll rub it 3 times, and on the third rub, he's no longer sitting there.
Dan will just spend the time sipping, like finishing his tea and eating the biscuit.
I mean, biscuits make the world go around, Hyun.
They do.
And with that, we shall finish our scene. Thank you, player, for playing. If you ever have any watchers, thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been another scene of Jack, ladies and gentlemen.